My guest is Peter O'Reilly. He is the NFL Executive Vice President for Club Business and International and League Events. Peter joins me every year to provide us with a one-of-a-kind look at Super Bowl week. Peter, welcome back to Sports Business Radio. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks, Brian. Great to be back for our
always
annual talk.
So appreciative of this insight in our annual talk. I look forward to it every year. All right, so February 8th at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. This is Super Bowl 60. It's a big one. I ask you this every year, but it's interesting to see the Super Bowl move around to these different markets. What are you doing to bring a Bay Area feel to this Super Bowl?
Yeah, obviously we were, they like round number Super Bowls here. So we had Super Bowl 50 here in the Bay Area at that first Super Bowl in Levi's after the stadium opened. And here we are 10 years later. There really is, working with the Bay Area Host Committee, there's so many new elements. If you look back 10 years and obviously when you think about this area, you think about innovation, you think about all of the things that are on the cutting edge here. And, that is one of the new things that's part of this week of a really big Super Bowl Innovation Summit that the Host Committee is doing, that we're partnered with them on. And I think we're really trying to capture the entirety of the Bay. Obviously, a lot of the activity during the week will be in San Francisco, the game down in Santa Clara, but really important for the NFL and the Host Committee to really have a role and a presence across all of the counties in the Bay. And we're looking to do that, certainly from a legacy perspective.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those activities. So you've got opening night, which is taking place Monday night at the San Jose Convention Center. And that features players and coaches from the Seahawks and the Patriots. A lot of media members there. Fans can come. Tell us a little bit about that. And how did you wind up in San Jose?
Yeah, so that Super Bowl 50, just harkening back to then, was the first opening night, which we also did in San Jose. So that is that's really, as you said, the kickoff of the week, Super Bowl opening night, which is fueled by our great partner Gatorade. And that is that official kickoff of the week. All of the media arrives over the weekend. The media center opens. And then Monday at the San Jose Convention Center will be media from around the world. The one time that the two teams are together and the coaches are together in one place. So they'll have their separate media sessions. And then we bring the captains and the coaches together for some joint interviews, which is that one time where they're together. And then as we've done since that Super Bowl 50 first opening night, fans will be able to be in that San Jose Convention Center as part of it. One of the reasons we do it down there, and obviously San Jose has been a great partner, but the two teams are staying and practicing down there in the South Bay, one at Stanford, one at San Jose State. So that's convenient for them, given their focus and not traveling up to San Francisco.
Got it. And then I know the Super Bowl experience, which I've been to multiple times, and it's just grown and grown every year, the Moscone Center in San Francisco, right?
It is. So Super Bowl experience continues to grow. Our partner for that one, Jersey Mike's, one of our newer partners, and the Moscone Center, as we do every year, but really excited. I was just walking through it today as it starts to come to life, and you really transform what is a convention center into an NFL and Super Bowl theme park. So many of our partners activating, so many new elements. And then I'm sure we'll get to it in a minute, but the fact that the Pro Bowl will actually be played in a flagged field house that we're building within the Super Bowl experience. So that opens on Tuesday. The Super Bowl experience runs all the way through Saturday and is just right in the heart of San Francisco, the media center right next door at another Moscone Center building. So you've got the center of gravity right in downtown San Francisco.
Yeah, tell us more about the flag football game and what you've built there that's unique for this year.
It is. So we made the decision, obviously, a few years ago, working really closely with our players, decided to change the Pro Bowl format from a tackle format to a flag football format. And that was really player driven. It's been successful in those we've done in Las Vegas and Orlando, but really with player input, wanted to bring it into Super Bowl week. That's our biggest stage. Super Bowl week. You've got obviously all the media there. So that AFC versus NFC flag football showdown will take place live on ESPN Tuesday night. We'll also have a lot of challenges and Pro Bowl games going on with the big men as well surrounding that. But obviously flag football is a huge priority for us. And with flag football for women and men in the LA 28 Olympic Games, and the unanimous vote of the NFL owners last year to allow NFL players to participate and represent their country in the Olympic Games. This is the first flag game, the first Pro Bowl we've done where that prospect of representing your country is there. So we've got a great roster of players coming in. Obviously, maybe a little bit of chatter around the AFC quarterbacks. Obviously, we've had some injuries at the top of the AFC quarterback list. But you look at that roster of players who are coming in to play in that Pro Bowl, NFC quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, guys who just played in a championship game coming in and playing in this game, which is going to be fantastic. A guy like and some great receivers like a Puka Nacua, Cortland Sutton coming in, Patrick Surtain, who just played in that championship game, coming over. So, and I think you'll see, and sorry to go long on it, but we're so excited on flag. You'll also see in that ESPN broadcast before the NFL players take the field. We're going to do a big showcase game of the best girls high school flag players in the country live on ESPN, chosen by the clubs, by the 32 clubs, and this is awesome that this exists now. There's a USA Today top 25 girls high school flag program. So much momentum there. And just last week, the NCAA voted to put women's flag on the emerging pathway for an NCAA sport. So now scholarship opportunities for these young women. So much going on in the flag space.
Like you mentioned, it's going to be an Olympic sport in 2028. I know this has been an initiative for you guys for a while. Do you have any growth numbers of how many more people are playing flag football now than maybe a couple of years ago? Because from where I sit, it seems like it's really growing.
Absolutely. We've got up to just crossed 20 million people around the world, across 100 countries playing our sport. And I was talking about US there, but the growth we're seeing at every level, at the grassroots level, NFL flag and flag football, especially for girls growing so fast, and for boys. High school, the sanctioning of flag football, every couple of months, a new state comes on board. I mentioned college and Olympics. But we also see it around the world. You see the competitiveness of flag football as I'm fortunate to travel around the world for our games. And there are so many incredibly great flag football clubs and programs. And I think that LA 28 bracket will be very competitive for sure. I mean, the Mexican women are dominant in flag football. So much there. And we've referenced that we're also have great momentum around launching a professional flag league in this country for women and men, and more news to come on that soon. But that, for not only the aspiration to play in college or play in the Olympics, professional opportunities as well are part of this pipeline.
Very, very exciting. I want to ask you more about international in a few minutes, but let's stick with Super Bowl for right now. So moving on down the week, Thursday, NFL Honors. It's on NBC. Jon Hamm is hosting, which I love. I've been to NFL Honors. I've told you before, it's the favorite sports awards show I've ever gone to. You guys do such an amazing job with it. But anything other than Jon Hamm hosting and it's on NBC that we should take note of for NFL Honors?
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. The team was just going through some scripts on it, and there's a lot of, I think Jon Hamm's going to be a tremendous host. Obviously, he's a big fan. And there'll be a little bit of a different format. You see, it's we've moved away. It's a subtle thing, but important for us. We've moved away from kind of theater style to more kind of what I'll call Golden Globe style kind of round tables where you get that energy and that fun.
Wow.
A lot of star power there, a lot of great NFL players there. And then the moments that fans don't want to miss that night, like the MVP announcement, like the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year announcement, those Rookie of the Year on the offense and defensive side. So I think it'll be, I'm really excited for this NBC NFL Honors show, which our partner Invisalign is presenting, because I think the star power is going to be big in this new format. I think it's going to create even more kind of fun and energy around the show itself.
So every Super Bowl, you're working with a different broadcast partner because it rotates. This year, it's NBC. I just had Terry Gannon on. I've had people from NBC on. And what a month for NBC with the Winter Olympics, with the Super Bowl, NBA All-Star Game. Does this change anything for you because they've got people obviously staffing the Winter Olympics, or is it business as usual for an NBC Super Bowl?
Sure. I mean, our partners at NBC, all of our partners are amazing. We've obviously done multiple Super Bowls with NBC, including Super Bowls that have overlapped with the Winter Games. And that team on the production side and the programming side is just top notch. As you said, they've got I think they're calling Legendary February that they're in the midst of. But it elevates everything. We work so closely with them. You work for really multiple years with that team at the broadcast partner to lead up to this. And, they've got, that opening ceremony is on Friday night and then, into the Super Bowl. And it's, just a first class operation with Rob Hyland now as the producer over there, and Freddie Godelli still involved, and just such a fabulous team on that side.
Another person who's a guest on my show this week, Todd Allen of Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser, Bud Light. We talk Super Bowl ads. Peter, the thing that blows my mind every year is I think it was 127.7 million tuned in to watch the Super Bowl last year with the Chiefs and Eagles. Super Bowl ad rates keep going up and up and up. And you've got, partners like Anheuser-Busch, the official beer of the NFL, who are, buying up some of these ads and using people like Peyton Manning in their Bud Light ad. Do you ever just sit back and go, wow, I can't believe how this continues to grow every year with TV audience and record prices for Super Bowl ads?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to the game and the competitiveness of it. And obviously, we've had such a great season this year with the competitiveness and the unpredictability of it, and such a great playoff run of games each weekend where all of us are on the edges of our seats. And then, as we've talked about before, there are just not that many things in this world that bring people together on a single day.
Yeah.
Like the Super Bowl. And we do not take that for granted in any way, and spend so much time to make sure we're raising the bar and creating both a great experience for those fans who are fortunate enough to be in Levi's on that day, and then those fans around the country and around the world watching. And I think it is that coming together of this big moment, of which there are not that many, that makes this, continuing to grow every year.
Yeah. People love the NFL. They also love music. The Apple Music halftime show, Bad Bunny, one of the most popular performers in the entire world, is going to be performing at halftime. I know people are looking forward to this. It's always fun to see what little surprises come up during the show and the production. And you and I have talked about the rehearsals, and, I'd imagine there's a lot of preparation for what's going to go into that halftime show.
A massive amount. I mean, the Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show is undoubtedly the biggest concert of the year. And we're thrilled that we have such a global star, one of the biggest music stars in the world, in Bad Bunny, and going to be a tremendous show. That team is in the midst of rehearsals now, as you said. And, certainly be some surprises as part of that show, which there always are every year. And that's exciting. So that both halftime and then, inclusive of everything we're doing in pregame as well, in terms of some big national anthems with Charlie Puth and Brandi Carlile with America the Beautiful, Coco Jones singing Lift Every Voice, and then a tribute to 60 years of Super Bowl, partnering with NBC. They've got a tremendous open for the Super Bowl at the top of the 6:00 Eastern hour.
Okay.
That will lead into a big moment in the stadium where we'll really celebrate 60 years of Super Bowl in a big way, and have a band from the East Bay named Green Day perform as part of that. So you've got a little bit of everything going on, and excited for it all to come together.
60th Super Bowl, 250 for America.
Yep.
Are you doing anything special for America 250?
Yes, absolutely. We've been our team and the league and the club's been partnered for a number of years with the America 250 Commission to play a role in celebrating this really important anniversary. You may have seen during really starting in week 18 with the turn of the new year into 2026. We started that celebration with both on our sidelines, all of our playoff games, and week 18 had America 250 on the sidelines. And then at Super Bowl, you will absolutely see it prominently as we come together for those performances of America the Beautiful and our national anthem. America 250 will again be on the sidelines. And there'll be a couple of other moments that I won't go into detail on here that, I think will be really powerful. And obviously, like we did, if you look back to 1976 and the bicentennial year and Super Bowl 10, that Steelers-Cowboys game, they had patches for the bicentennial and celebrated there. And, we're fortunate the NFL has been part of that American journey for now, I guess 106 seasons.
Wow. That's just incredible. All right. I want to ask you about the draft and international games, but last question on Super Bowl, and I always ask you this because I think our listeners find this fascinating. Your schedule on Super Bowl Sunday. I know you're up early. I know you have a command center. Your staff is always smaller than most people think it is. What are you doing on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah, Super Bowl Sunday. So we obviously got a West Coast Super Bowl. So you've got approximately, just after 3:30 Pacific kick time. So things get started even earlier. So we've got members of our staff who are up at 2 a.m. Pacific. Wow. We start processing teammates are the people who make the Super Bowl hum, at 3 a.m, who are starting to come in for their shifts. I'll get up a bit after that and then head down to Santa Clara. And as we've talked about before, you kind of do a lap of everything, an eye check of everything on the outside, on the inside, check in with people. You want to, all of us, you want to set the tone for the day. And then you, pretty early on get into what we call NFL control, which is that nerve center for all things Super Bowl, where you've got every department, from a security side, from a broadcast side, from a social media side, everybody there broadcasts, and that is the hub. And we're kind of hunkered down with eyes everywhere to make sure everything is seamless for our fans in the stadium and those watching.
And are you watching on monitors? Are you watching the live action on the field? Are you watching the broadcast? What are you watching?
We've got a perch so I'm looking, it depends on the time of day, Brian. So early on, you're obviously always keeping an eye on the field and down there, but early on before the gates are open, we're looking on the outside. We're looking, buses coming down from San Francisco, all of the timing. We've got monitors, a massive wall of monitors where you can see everything going on and toggle between those. So you're focused on the outside, and then you're focused on, getting everybody into the hospitality, then into the building, and then you turn your attention to the field and the presentation of the game. So the day has kind of an arc to it. And all of us are head in a swivel, but I give a huge shout out to our events team and the entire NFL staff, who is just best in class. Guy named John Barker, who leads our events team, is best in class. And there's so many people in the shadows who are doing absolutely incredible work that make the Super Bowl come to life. And it's about those little things that add up to the big outcome at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you've told me it's like 40-something people on your staff, which I'm always amazed at that it's not bigger. Is it around that size?
It is, but obviously all parts of the NFL come together and are part of it. And then we've got incredible partners and vendors who are the lifeblood and really part of the Super Bowl family. And it sounds cliche and Pollyanna, but it really is that. This is a family that comes together and does something really special. So we're a small core team, but we expand to this incredible, awesome family.
All right, future Super Bowls. You're on the West Coast again next year in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. ESPN, ABC will have their first ever Super Bowl broadcast, which I know they're excited about. Then you're in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and then we don't know beyond that, or do we?
We don't know. We're in the
Okay.
process for those after next year. Like you said, we're
Okay.
very excited for LA, excited for that first Disney, ABC, ESPN Super Bowl in quite a while.
Yeah.
And they are all in on that. And then just, fun fact tied to that one will, based on the calendar, line up with President's Day. So you'll end up with that Super Bowl that people love to talk about
Yes.
of the next day being President's Day. But excited for that one. LA down to Atlanta, two great places we've been before. And then we're in the process now on the Super Bowls after that. And more to come in the next 6 months or so related to the future beyond that, Brian.
Okay. And then you also oversee the NFL draft, which has grown immensely. And it's in Pittsburgh this year, Washington, D.C. in 2027. No decision beyond that, right?
Yes. Similar to Super Bowl, we are in the process on that 28 draft. But those two ahead of us are big ones and awesome ones. To be in Pittsburgh at the confluence of the rivers with, a sea of terrible towels being waved, that's going to be quite a scene. And each year, the city and we try to raise the bar. And then DC the next year on the National Mall, again, really iconic with the Commanders back and, moving forward with their stadium on the old RFK site. But no decision yet on 28, but we're in the process there.
I mean, I would imagine these cities and teams are beating down your door saying, I want to host Super Bowl and I want to host the NFL draft. It's probably a pretty good pool of candidates you have to choose from.
There's certainly tons of interest across markets. And as you've seen, we've really looked to the draft as a major event now that can go to cities that aren't necessarily Super Bowl hosts. So, that's where you look at a Pittsburgh and opportunities, incredible football towns. We were just in Green Bay last year, incredible draft in Detroit, all of those. So there's a little bit of that opportunity that now we've created with the draft as it's gotten so big to have something, as you said, other than the Super Bowl, to get to markets that are such great football towns. But yes, no lack of demand.
All right. International games. Peter, you set a record for the most number of international games this last year, 7. You were in Brazil, Ireland, London, Germany, Spain. And it looks like this has really become a focus for the league. We've talked about this before, but again, record-setting number of games last year. Why does the NFL, I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but I want to hear it from you since you're with the league. Why is it such an emphasis for the league to play these games abroad and to expand its footprint outside of North America?
Yeah, it is, as we talk about with our clubs in the league, becoming a true global sport property is what we believe we can be. And we know that we're a challenger sport outside of North America, but we see these games. And the games aren't an end in and of themselves. The games are a catalyst. The games are an opportunity to bring our best product, our regular season game, into a market and light a spark. Everywhere we've gone, you've seen. We went to Brazil, sold out stadium 2 years in a row in Sao Paulo, and you start to build then that year-round fandom and that connection and the media partnerships. In Brazil now, we've got a great partnership that we're looking to build with Globo and year-round and partners and build flag in those markets. So it's the long game in terms of building fandom and relevance, and games are that opportunity to come in a big way and deliver that. And our teams are very excited about that. Like you said, we played 7 last year, and though we haven't yet announced all of our games for next year, I would expect that we would be setting another record next year in terms of number of games. We've already announced, which we're very excited about, that in week 1, we'll be in Melbourne, Australia at the Melbourne Cricket Ground with the Los Angeles Rams, and 100,000 people in the Melbourne Cricket Ground in week 1 is going to be pretty special.
I mean, it seems like we're heading towards a future of there being an international game every week during the regular season, and you can return to the venues you've already been to because you're building those partnerships like with Brazil. And now you're expanding to places like Australia. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think every step and every move we make, we need to do it right. That's critical. Getting the team operation right, getting the football side right, that is critical. But yes, we're building in the markets we've gone to. We want to have continuity. We want to be there in multiple years. And then we're being strategic and thoughtful around what those new markets are, like Australia, which is a great market. So we're building methodically, but each year we learn more, and build upon that. Last year the Vikings played 2 games, one in Ireland, one in London.
Right.
So there are those type of things where, okay, that's a lesson. That's an opportunity to learn of a team playing back-to-back weeks in 2 different countries. So we learn and build every year.
I know you're on a lot of these trips, if not all of them. What do you hear from the teams about playing internationally? Because it seems like, although it's a long trip, the players go to these countries and they're like, wow, what a reception we're getting here.
It is. I think that the feedback, especially this last year from the teams and the players, have been so positive. And as you said, it's a unique cultural experience, and it's a unique experience as a team and a bonding experience to be together for those days in that market. And then you step into a stadium that is just buzzing and feels like the energy and volume of a stadium in the US. But for example, you look around and you're in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, and it's full of German fans who love the game and are, not just singing Country Roads, which gets a lot of attention, but responding at all the right times and knowing the game. So that player feedback is really important, and that team feedback is really important. And I think each year you feel that energy. And to your question as well, all 32 clubs now have rights in our global markets program in at least one country. So those clubs have marketing rights and are living it themselves in terms of building fandom and activating on the ground. So those things create further glue in the relationship.
So explain that. Does that mean like the Steelers have Ireland, or
Sure.
or do all 32 clubs have international rights to every country?
No, they don't. The 32 span 21 markets, but clubs have the ability to apply for a market, and they think about it very strategically in terms of, take, for example, yes, the Steelers have rights in Ireland. Among other countries, they have rights. That's a natural tie, the history of the Rooney family there. You saw that in spades at Croke
Wasn't he
Park.
an ambassador for Ireland?
He was. Yeah, he was the ambassador. But that was incredibly authentic and really special in Croke Park in Dublin in the fall. Take the Miami Dolphins, for example. The majority of the countries they have rights in are Spanish or Portuguese speaking countries. It ties to that Miami cultural tie. So in Brazil, in Spain, the Dolphins played in Spain last year, that first ever game in Madrid at the Bernabeu at Real Madrid's home. So it is, the Rams have rights in Australia and a lot of APAC countries. So it is strategic, and clubs have the ability to customize it based on what works for them and what's unique to their market.
Well, I hope you either have a really good private jet partnership or a great frequent flyer miles program, because you are all over the globe, my friend, doing these games.
We do. We all travel quite a bit, and the team, it is a lot of travel, but you don't take for granted, and it becomes so special when you're there and you see the fans and the gratitude that we're bringing a game there, and that energy you feel not just in the stadium, but in the free fan events we're doing around the city or the flag clinics we're doing. That's the stuff that, you're planting a seed of someone who's going to be a lifetime fan of this game, and that's pretty special.
Well, I'm going to remind you, as your mom does every year, to drink plenty of water, make sure you get something to eat on Super Bowl Sunday, and take care of yourself, and best of luck with everything with Super Bowl week and Super Bowl Sunday. And I just really appreciate you joining me annually for this conversation.
Thanks, Brian. My 89, soon to be 90-year-old mother appreciates this every year. I've got my Aquafina here, and she's going strong at almost 90. So I'll try to model her and get my rest and drink water.
Peter, thanks so much for joining me on Sports Business Radio.
Thanks, Brian. Really enjoyed it.